how confident would you be, Steiny, with Sam Darnold as your number 2 quarter?
I was asked this.
This is what Bonte put a poll. We put a poll. This is, to me, everything, because when you left, I told you the number 2 quarterback in this city is almost the quickest one to get on the field in every other city because something always seems to happen to the starter.
Say it one more time. How comfortable am I?
With Sam Darnold being your number 2 quarterback.
It's funny. I went on KTVU today with Sal Castaneda, and Cal
got the fresh cut,
and he said the exact same thing. How comfortable are you? And I said, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. All that matters is what became clear yesterday is that Kyle Shanahan is far more comfortable with Darnold at 2 than Lance at 2. So, again, Kyle Shanahan obviously knows more than me, so I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, boy, that's a big mistake. Trey Lance should be 2 and Darnold should be 3. Like, honestly, I have no idea. I'll say this. Yes, I would like Trey Lance to be the backup quarterback.
Yes.
Because I would like to see him play.
You said 4 or 5 games.
Far more than Sam Darnold. There's just no doubt about it. I want to see Trey Lance play instead of Sam Darnold if there's a choice. But the reality isn't that choice. Kyle Shanahan said it. Darnold's better. He's better, at least in his mind. And now
that's not a shock either.
Darnold's got to prove it. Yeah. Let's go to Mike in Michigan. What's up, Mike? How you doing, man?
Hey, gentlemen. Steiny, welcome back.
Thank you.
Hope your trip across the pond was well worth it. I'm sure you had a great time.
Did so.
Goo, same. I know you had a vacation a couple weeks ago.
Right on, man.
Oh, man, it's glad to have Superman and Batman back. You know, Styles did real well. Alan did too, but that was like Batman and Robin. You guys are the world's finest when it comes to this Bay Area sports, man. So what I got to say is the writing was on the wall for Trey. From day one of free agency when they signed Darnold, you could just tell that it wasn't for him. So he's going to have to go somewhere else, hopefully. If I was him, I would like to stay here, and because 5 times out of the 6 years Kyle's been here, it's gone all the way down to the 3rd-string quarterback, and even last year they needed a 4th who they didn't have because of the NFL rules. But my final point, just to take it home, fellas, is Steiny, you're having a hell of a year. All right, guys, have a good one.
Dude,
I don't understand why
you changed. You were tooting your own horn at every turn about the and I caught the changeover when I was on vacation where Dibbs was playing with you. The last one you did before you left about your hell of a year with the origin of it. But I just knew you were coming back, so I had to prep John yesterday on the Vine, you and him, to kind of let you know we know you're coming in with
Trey
this.
Lance stunk.
No, but you felt like they didn't believe in him.
True.
And I fought you at every turn thinking, oh, no, it's a Sonny, this was never a competition, and it's okay. But I think it's my prerogative, Bobby Brown. I don't like the way Kyle and John run their business.
That's fair. That's fair.
I feel like you owe the fan base a degree of the truth. And to come out 48 hours, Nick Nolte, and say, I'm not going to, I'm not going to say that we might do this. And then this? Come on, man. What did he say? The world might be ending. Remember that one? Like, all that's relative. Yeah, son. Like, dude.
Let's go to Darian. Darian's in North Carolina. 888-957-9570. If you want to join the conversation. I guess the question is this. Who are you more disappointed in? Trey Lance or Kyle Shanahan, if you're disappointed at all? What's up, Darian? How you doing, buddy?
Hey, how y'all doing this morning, fellas?
Hey.
Good, man. So, man, I just want to jump on and say, I mean, has Kyle even really gotten the chance to show us who his number 1 quarterback is going to be, or give it time to develop a quarterback? Every quarterback that stepped in Kyle hasn't even gotten a full year with them without them suffering through injury. So what Kyle's been able to do with almost just having to piece things together from the quarterback position, to me, is almost not even spoken in high regard. And I mean, I don't have a short-term memory. I saw what Trey looked like against the Raiders. I didn't really need to see much else. He didn't pull the trigger when it was there, and he needs things to be wide open for him, and it's just not like that in the NFL.
But who's responsible for getting him ready? Kyle's job is to get him ready, man.
But what do you get him ready in what terms? His job is to win, not get Trey Lance ready. And if you go into the locker room and ask, "Oh, do we have 6 or 7 games to groom Trey, or do we need to win now?" I think most of the locker room will say, "Look, we got to win. We don't have time to groom Trey."
My follow-up, Steiny, to you and him would be, why did he start last year in Chicago then? Trey Lance. What was that then, if this caller is right?
Well, the truth would be that Garoppolo was not ready. He wasn't, and he was going to play Lance over Purdy because Lance was a higher pick, and it was like the stakes were low because there was no obvious choice behind him. I always try to look at things in a million different ways. And what about this? I know, because, all right, I feel some people coming down on Kyle. What about this? What do you want? Kyle Shanahan made a big move, a gamble. He moved up to get a quarterback. He picked a quarterback. The quarterback didn't work out. So he's cutting his losses. He's going to acknowledge this guy can't play. We're going to try to move him, and we're going to move on. A lot of places, it's kind of admirable because we've seen a lot of times in pro sports, teams make mistakes. They take too long trying to protect themselves, saying, "No, everything's fine, everything's fine." Well, could you make a case that Kyle Shanahan, okay, after 2 or 3 years, maybe too long for you, maybe not long enough for some, is saying, "You know what? This thing's over. Made a mistake. Move on." Isn't that better than, well, let's just keep trying to sell a bill of goods to our fans about this guy might be able to play? You know what? Let's stop all that. Let's move on.
I'll tell you what, if the Niners are playing in the championship games, it's admirable if they're still winning. But let me tell you, if they're 4-13, Steiny, that admirable ain't going to get you too far with the fan base because we're talking about two separate things.
Well, to me, what's interesting, Goo, is that if Kyle Shanahan thinks he can win with any quarterback, he's not. He's going to.
He's doing it now.
Right. So back off.
Right. And the story's greater with Purdy than it is with Purdy played college football
Kyle
last year.
Shanahan is looking at this situation saying, "I don't care who's quarterback. We're winning 11 games.
Well,
we're
that's
winning 11 games.
Yeah.
I don't care if it's Purdy. I don't care if it's Darnold. And you know what?
Or Jimmy.
I'll win 11 games with Brandon Allen."
Yeah.
But here's what I think. I think Shanahan thinks he can win 11 games with Purdy. I think he thinks he can win 11 games with Darnold. I think he thinks he can win 11 games with Brandon Allen. But I don't think he thinks he can win 11 games with Trey Lance.
Okay.
That's why we're here.
Yeah. And if you allow me, Steiny, I just feel like on a personal level, I have clarity. And I'd like for you not to ever do this again when you come at me. I do understand now the difference between play design, scheming up a play, getting your guys open. That's what Kyle's expertise is. But in my world, Steiny, I look at now the fat man, Andy Reid, who saw something with Mahomes. The guys that I call Jedi minds that can look at a quarterback and say, you know what, in college or wherever, and say on the next level, not only do I see something, I can get him ready. Steiny, Kyle has struck out. C.J. Beathard, I know it was he traded up to get him, and he had an opportunity to make him into something for just a little time. It didn't work out, but that's on his resume that Kyle can't decipher what is or what he can make into a baller. Or I need to put a sock in my fat pie hole because he's doing it right now with Brock Purdy?
That's the enigma.
There it is.
That's the gray area right there. You know, it's interesting because whether you like it or not, Kyle Shanahan makes the picks. He's their quote-unquote talent evaluator. So he evaluated the talent of Trey Lance, said, you get this guy in here, we're going to be, almost like Draymond Green. Don't let me get Trey Lance in here.
Boy.
Well, it's going to cost 2 first-round picks and a swap, and you can move up, and let's do it. Get Trey Lance in here. So he evaluated his quarterback. He loved him. He fell out of love with him. I think the other thing that's an issue with how much of an issue, I don't know. But I almost feel like nobody's going to be able to find Kyle Shanahan's quarterback for him other than Kyle Shanahan.
Right.
Like, I feel like Lynch was the impetus behind getting Jimmy Garoppolo. Because I do think at that point
he was called.
That Shanahan was thinking, let's wait a year and sniff around for Kirk Cousins. What do you say we get this Garoppolo? Okay. So he sold him on Garoppolo, 5 games, contract extension. But I actually think there's something about Shanahan that you can only be his quarterback if he's his quarterback.
Man, Purdy looks to be that, Steiny.
Quarterback.
Yeah. Purdy looks to be that.
And now you can't start looking back with all the evidence and thinking, why didn't get Tom Brady? You know what? I'll say it. Because Kyle didn't want him.
Yeah, no doubt. Aaron Rodgers
Aaron Rodgers. Kyle didn't want him.
You're right.
Because they're already developed.
Allen said he's got a type, Steiny.
But what is it? It's like it's Don Nelson's center.
And that's perfectly
it's like he's
said.
looking for Don Nelson's imaginary center.
Yeah.
Let's see if it's Purdy. Let's go to Dennis. Dennis is in the city. What's going on, Dennis? How you doing, man?
Good. How you guys doing today?
Doing well.
But something that you said earlier, Steiny, I agree with you. You know, why, if they had confidence in Lance, why would they go after Darnold? That's one thing with them. But I think, you know, people call and talk about the arrogance or the ego of Shanahan, and I didn't understand why he would have given up so much draft capital for a kid that you knew was raw. He's hardly played one season. I actually thought that they would probably in Fields with that pick because he was, you know, he played against the top competition in the country. He had a lot more playing time, college years in him under his belt. And quite honestly, you know, when Jimmy went down, they were lucky to get Jimmy back last year. And when he went down, Purdy has saved Shanahan's bacon to this point, I think.
No doubt.
And, you know what I mean? And you know, like I feel for Lance, but he's totally raw. And I think it was it Mike Markson that used to coach the Rams? Did I get that name right? Mm-hmm. But he said, I think he watched film on Lance and said he didn't think he was going to make it in the NFL. He didn't think they'd have the footwork or the, you know, command of the game or the feel of position. And, you know, that's what showed up. And, you know, that's what we've seen so far. I hope the kid makes it somewhere.
So do I.
Here or somewhere else.
So do I. Absolutely. Thanks for the call. Appreciate it.
Yeah, rooting for him.
By the way, and maybe now's not the time to throw this out there, but so I did go to Ireland.
People want to know what you golfed.
There were a lot of different golf 9 rounds, so there were a lot of different numbers.
Okay.
But I went with my buddies from back east. 16 of us, 14 hardcore Eagle fans. 14 of them like legitimate Eagle fans.
Where are you going?
They're just not. I'm sorry, but they're just not afraid of the Niners. They're almost not on the Eagles' radar. The Kansas City Chiefs or whoever comes out of the AFC.
Wow, man.
They believe,
that's how dismissive they are.
The Eagles fans, for everybody here that says, you know, the 49ers outside the quarterback position are the most talented team in football, they don't think so. They think the Eagles have more talent outside the quarterback position than the Niners. Yeah. And clearly, they've got an advantage at quarterback.
Well,
just food for thought.
And I love your friend, Steiny. Fan short for fanatic. Yeah. But at the end of the day, you can go to Dallas, you can go to the Niners in regard to one of the most talented rosters per man, and Kansas City wouldn't show up. Kansas City on offense does not represent what the Niners have at their disposal except Superman at the most important position on the field. And the Eagles should feel that way because they beat the Eagles, Steiny, in the Super Bowl.